Welcome to Gate City Chronicles. I'm Kevin Avard, your host, and I'm welcoming my guest today, Miss Pastor Jose Luna.
Luna.
Yes.
Jose Luna.
Welcome to the show, Jose.
Thank you, my friend. Good to be here. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciated your invitation, and I see that your show is very well seen throughout Nashua.
Well, we try to cover all of Nashua in every walks of life, everybody to get an equal access and to give them a little shout out. So
that's good.
Now, your church is located on Arlington Street.
Arlington Street, 63 Arlington Street. Our services are Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 12:30, and it's a non-denominational church. It's a pleasure to come. It's a very small church. It's an experiment. We are planting this church as we speak, and it's amazing what happens in there. We study the Word of God. We do praise and worship, but our motto is preaching acceptance, forgiveness, and love, which is pretty much the core of our mission and vision that we have in our church. So.
Now, one of the other things that I learned about you is you're going to be having your own TV show here.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And it's called
Common Sense Living, and we are thrilled. We are excited about this program because this program basically, we've been walking in town and seeing the interactions of people. A lot of times we see so much lack of common sense in so many little things.
Right.
So this program, what we want to do is to bring practical ideas, but also perennial principles to people that they can follow through, and if they do it, they can live better, have a better life, a better way of living, a better relationships with one another, and better understanding among families. So that's mainly the whole scope of this program, Common Sense Living.
Now, as a pastor, you are faced with all types of situations, lifestyles, all types of things that come before you, and people are always asking for advice. So you've kind of gone through the school of hard knocks to some degree because you have to be thinking on your feet all the time.
Yes, I have schooling. I went to a boarding school in Mexico for a number of years where I did elementary school, middle school, high school. Then went to my country, did my bachelor's degree in theology, and with a minor in education. Then worked in the government as a supervisor, teaching people how to write for radio. And then I came here to live in Vermont, where it was fascinating to live in Vermont. Actually, I loved it.
Welcome to New Hampshire.
And then I went to Andrews University in Michigan and did my graduate master's in ministry. And right now I'm pursuing a doctorate in social science and also a doctorate in ethics. So I'm doing a dual doctorate, and I'm going bonkers. I'm on my last stretch.
A doctorate
right now.
in ethics.
In ethics.
What would be your thesis?
Right now, what we are trying to do is, because I also work as a chaplain for the state, and I work with youth at risk, or better said, adolescents or juvenile system. And what we are trying to do basically is I do believe that spirituality plays a major role as a protective factor among these kids. In other words, if we are spiritual beings, whether we are in agreement with that or not, whether we recognize that or not, we are spiritual beings. So what we try to do is to connect those kids with their spiritual side of themselves. And in the process, as a Christian myself, follower of God, in the process, we also try to present a God who is a God who is accepting, a God who accepts you as you are, a God who is forgiving, a God who is love. Quite often, some people say, well, outside when in the streets or knocking on doors, visiting people or whatever, some people say, well, if you're a religious person, you're a reverend, you're a pastor, I'm a sinner.
We are all sinners.
No, but that's the response I get. Right? I'm
Right.
a sinner. I'm going to hell. And I said, well, I don't know about that, because what I know is that I'm a sinner also, and sinners go to church, not to hell.
Right.
So
Every sinner goes to church. Every single one. We're all in the same boat. One of the things that would, this whole concept of spirituality, and it seems to me that we're living in a culture which spirituality or faith in God is continually being challenged. Yeah. We're having, and I don't really mean to be attacking, but what we have right now is a teaching that, well, we're just an accident. Yeah. We came from an accident, and as a direct result, we evolved accidentally into this supreme being on the earth, and the survival of the fittest and natural selection is what's being taught. The problem I have with that is there's a consequence, and the consequence is there is no conscience if I don't have to answer to a supreme being. If I don't have a God, not one that I made up, but if there is no God, then why should I care?
Yeah. It's fascinating that you're saying that, because just before coming here, my brother called me on the phone saying, hey, bro, what do you think? He's a non-religious guy. He's a very respectful guy. He respects everyone, but he doesn't want anything to do with religion. But then he calls me and says, hey, what do you think? I do believe that we come from the sun and, some kind of life outside of the planet, or maybe we evolved from something, but definitely God did not create us. That was his basic statement. So I said, well, let's think about that for just 1 second. Can you find anything in creation that resembles morality?
Well, my understanding of morality would be something that it is what the common, that's whichever the wind blows. But yet then you talk about ethics, which is a different type of...
Right. So, and I don't know if I can find anything in creation that resembles the ability to decide between right and wrong. Mm-hmm. We find instincts, among the animals, but that's instinct, not because it is a moral choice. So when I look into the universe, there is nothing about our morality that is reflected in the creation, as far as I know. Maybe I'm wrong. But that brings me to the idea that we are not a byproduct of creation, but in reality, we came from God's hands. So, and the idea of this program of Common Sense Living is basically to bring people face to face with this kind of thinking and say, well, let's take an honest look at that. Let's talk about it. We are not going to condemn you. We are not going to judge you. We are not going to look down on you or anything like that. Let's talk about it. We might not agree, and if you disagree, fine.
Right.
Because part of life is just to be able to express yourself freely, and being able to not only express yourself freely, but also to believe whatever you want to believe. But whatever we choose to believe, I personally have this notion that we ought to base it on evidence.
Right. And, I think one of the things, getting back to that other question is, well, how do you explain love?
Love.
Where does that come from? Today, we're faced with the last 24 hours where there was just a senseless crime done in Boston, the blowing up. Yeah. And immediately, people instinctively went and started to help because of the love in their heart to help the people that were hurt. Right. They ran. They didn't walk. They ran. Right. And they immediately ran to the hospital, gave blood. Soldiers came. Everybody came to add comfort. Right. That's not natural selection. That's not survival of the fittest. Right. That's love.
That's love.
That's love. That's love. And love, in my belief, from the Bible, God is love.
Yeah.
And that is the thing that is really, that kind of throws a monkey wrench in a lot of people's thinking. I do believe God created us. I believe that He's the creator and that He spoke it into existence ex nihilo, out of nothing.
Out of nothing.
It takes more faith to believe, in my opinion, that we evolved out of nothing.
Yeah.
As complex as your DNA is. So, anyway, I'm glad that you came to the show. When's that gonna start airing?
Our show will begin to be aired. We are shooting for the beginning of May, 6th, 7th of May.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we are very excited about this show because we're going to be having these conversations. My co-host, Edwin Cillier, he has been a world traveler and he's a teacher also. And we come together and we said, can we really put something where we can talk about things, in a non-invasive way, in a way that people can feel comfortable to ask questions, to email us. So we will be giving more details as time, as the days move on, with the shows where they can email their questions, perhaps, eventually, to do it like a live thing where you can call and ask for your questions.
Oh, that'd be fun.
We won't promise that we will answer every question, but what we do promise is that if we don't know the answer, we're going to dig it in, right?
Be honest. Exactly. I don't know.
Because that's part of life. You don't know something, don't try to pretend you know something you don't.
Exactly.
It's better just to be yourself. But I think there's so much discussion that needs, or so many topics that need to be brought to the table and talk about it in an open forum with honesty, without feeling the apprehension of being slashed, by
judged,
or judged or condemned or
Exactly.
intimidated by anybody.
How do people get in touch with you?
People can get in touch with me at this email right now, parousiar@yahoo.com, and that would be P as in Paul, AROU, S as in Sam, I as in insert, A as in Apple, R@yahoo.com, parousiar@yahoo.com. And you can also call me 603-554-6888, which is the church office telephone number, 603-554-6888. And if you have any question, you can call me or you can email me, parousiar@yahoo.com. And whatever question, whatever is in your heart, you want to talk about it, we can meet, at the library, or go for a coffee, or or a soda, whatever a juice, whatever, and then we can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show, and I wish you great success with your show.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching Gate City Chronicles. And we hope that this is a service to you. If you want to be on my show, contact me at gatecitychronicles@gmail.com, and we'll get you on. Okay? Until next week, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.